Good day, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. We will be doing for the series for the level 2 AAT certificate in accounting qualification. We're going to be further doing a couple of more practice assessments in coming weeks. First one at the moment is will be principles of costing practice assessment 2 from the AAT website. And this is, a continuation of your AQ 2016 qualification from your, the costing unit. You have what is that again? It's called element of costing. Now it's changed to principle of costing there. But in this exam is something expected of you to have some sort of a knowledge of how to handle some spreadsheet kind of scenarios. So it is good you start learning some spreadsheet whilst you're doing this accounting course, because as you know, accounting software probably record all your financial accounting transaction. Most of your management accounting tasks are done by spreadsheets. Having a good knowledge on spreadsheets is going to take you a lot higher. What do you call it, standings compared to the people who doesn't know how to use the spreadsheets. And of course, spreadsheet is something you can play with a lot. You don't have to worry about making errors. You can just correct those errors so easily, unlike your financial accounting modules, because you are, what do you call, restricted of not making too many errors there. But then again, if you know how to correct them, you should be able to do them. But spreadsheet gives you a little bit of a like a playground, so you can do a little bit more practice on that. Discover different functions, and then use your own scenario there, do your own budget there, do your own income statement for your like personal scenario. So you can do that on your spreadsheet, and then you can learn how you can change the data there to suit your needs. Obviously, you can go on a holiday, you want to plan your savings for that year. And what are you going to do? You just do a spreadsheet saying your ins and outs, and then of course you can target, this is what it is, this is how much I will get if I spend this less, if I may get more savings by adjusting some of my expenses. You can do all of this in a spreadsheet there. But then again, that is something you want to try and do. But let's get into the exam. This exam's for 1 hour 30 minutes, got 7 tasks there, and total marks is 80. So to pass, out of this 80, I'm assuming you have to get 56 marks. Let me just get my calculator. Give me a second, please. Yep. 70 divided by 100 multiply by 80 gives me it gives me 56 marks. So out of 80, you need to get 56 marks to successfully pass this assessments. So let's see, click on it and let's start. We go walk in there and see what we can do. Okay, so task 1 for 8 marks. This task is about classification of classification and relationship of costs. Identify whether the following statements are true or false. The role of financial accounting is to help with decision making both internally and externally using published financial results. So if you look at that here, the role of financial accounting is to help with decision making both internally and externally using published financial records. So what is the meaning of that? Your job is there with the financial account, help with decision making both internally and externally using published financial results. Yeah, that's the part of it, isn't it? Because that's what financial accounting is for. You probably have to make a decision from whatever happened from previously, and then that is also going to be affecting your taxing and your what is that again, your profit figure. Your shareholders will be affected by those things. So it is true, it is something, there is no, it's to help with. Okay, that statement makes more sense. The role of management accounting to help with decision making externally using variance analysis and the budgets prepared in advance. So this is nothing for externally. People from outside do not care about your decision making. when it comes to your variance and your budgets, because for you that is internal. This is how you're going to control your business going forward. But people outside, like HMRC, would not want to know about it. Your bank doesn't want to know about it. They want to have facts like your financial statements from the previous year, not for your future. So therefore, this is a wrong statement. The next one is management accounting can incorporate much more than just monetary values, including hours, tons, liters, miles. Yes, of course it can do. It can use the data to suit your requirement. Unlike the financial accounting, you cannot put everything you like. You have to stick to a certain kind of information only. Management accounting, lot more flexible than your financial accounting. Next one. Identify the behavior of the following costs. So we are going to classify these costs by these three different behavior. One of them is fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. So electricity with a standing charge is a good example for semi-variable. Why? A standing charge is something you pay regardless of whether you use your energy or not. There is a huge controversy going on with currently, because all the energy companies are showing a record amount of profits there, and they charge a higher standing charge where they said they're going to invest that money into the future projects. But instead of doing so, those companies are putting half of those standing charges into their profits, but then they're denying it. Of course, you probably know how the money those energy companies are making. Obviously, sometimes I share your outrage on that as well, because you simply say, all right, okay, the cost of living crisis, and suddenly these big energy companies are making billions and billions in profit, and they're paying their shareholders. Of course, it's been facilitated by financial minds like ourselves, but that is not completely ethical. So when it comes to ethical scenarios, you may be asked this question in your synoptic assessment. But at the moment, for us, it's a good example. A standing charge is something you pay um, whether you use or not any energy. But the electricity also will have a variable cost, like the cost per unit you use. So therefore, they both combine to make it a semi-variable cost. Annual subscription fees are a fixed cost, because you don't change like a different amount, because for the annual, that's a fixed amount. Like if you have Amazon Prime, you pay £80 or something like that, I think. Yeah, you pay for the whole year. That's a fixed amount. Production staff wages will be variable, because you normally look at it for the element of costing or your principle of costing unit. Production staff will get paid as how many items they produce or how many hours they work. But whichever it is, more they do, more they get paid. So therefore, it's a variable cost, unless there's a fixed amount for them, but they didn't say anything about it. So therefore, we have to assume it's going to be a variable cost. Advertising is going to be a fixed cost, because you're going to be paying a fixed amount for that, regardless you whether you sell or produce any items or not. Raw materials used in production is going to be also a variable cost. Why? More you produce, more cost is going to be incurring. So therefore, it is a classic example of a variable cost. Let's answer it and move on. So the next question is, identify whether the following statements refer to planning, control, or decision making. The statement is the act of making a choice based on information received. So here, the act of making a choice based on the information received is going to be what? It's going to be you making a decision on there, isn't it? You're making a decision with that information. For example, whether to use this raw material or that raw material, whether to employ a skilled staff or semi-skilled staff or unskilled staff for your production. It depends on what you require. So this is of the information you receive. You're going to have a information there like, oh, this is the price for this item, this is the price for this item, and this is how long it takes to acquire it, and this is how long it's going to take to order. So you're going to make a decision out of what the information is being given to you. So this is definitely a decision making. Forecasting at different activity levels. So what does that mean? If in that case, what is my sales is going to be if my production is this amount? If my production is this amount, what is going to be my other variable cost? Do I have to acquire more resources for this one? Or can you put it like this way as well? So if you exceed a certain threshold, do I need income or fixed cost? Because it may not enough to cover this one. For example, a supervisor will be only be able to supervise 20 staff. What if I have to employ 30 staff? Can that supervisor supervise those 20 people? Or do I have to employ another one to supervise the excess? Therefore, this is what we call is planning. Okay, so this is what we're going to do by planning a forecast at different activity level. Comparison of budgets, budgeted result to actual results is going to be controlled. So that way, we are comparing what is estimated or expected to what actually happened. That way, we'll be able to control our scenarios. We'll be able to find out, okay, what could be the reason my cost is high here? How I managed to get more revenue? Or where I can make some savings for future. This is what the word of control means by. Now, let's look at the next one. Identify which inventory valuation method describes the following statements. So if you look at that here, the cost issues using the average inventory price. Straight away, the word average there, we know it's AVCO. When word is used as average, you straight away you have to remember this is going to be AVCO. So here, the next scenario, as purchase prices rise, this method gives the highest profit. So if you look at that here, the highest profit means what can be the reason? Because if you look at that, your closing inventory always get taken away from your cost of sales, isn't it? So if you're using FIFO method, your cost of sales will be included only with your earliest price. Means they're the cheapest price. If you use the cheapest price there, you're taking away the higher price, which is the newest inventory. You take that away from your cost of sales. Your gross profit is increasing there, same as the net profit. It will be automatically showing an increase there if your prices are increasing. Okay, so this is definitely a FIFO. Now let's look at the next one. As the purchase prices rise, this method gives the highest closing inventory value. Again, it's the same. Remember, if you're doing FIFO, you're doing first in, first out. So therefore, your closing inventory is your last in item. The one you kept bought last is your closing inventory because you've not used that one. Therefore, it gives you the highest value because you bought it for a higher price. For example, if you bought something for £2, £3, and £4, when you issue the inventory, which inventory you have it last? You have it at last, the one you bought for £4. Therefore, the highest value of inventory when you're using the FIFO method will show you the highest amount. The closing inventory amount will be highest when using FIFO. See, there is no answer for LIFO here. So you don't expect if I have a FIFO, that's going to be a LIFO. No, don't do that because it can be. Sometimes all three can be FIFOs. You never know. So you just have to use the analytical sense to get to the bottom of it. Write the numbers down if it doesn't make sense just by words. Just put them in numerical way, and that gives you an idea to verify your answers. The next one is Scenario A and Scenario B. They're going to ask you identify which labor costing method is used on the following scenarios. First one, production staff are paid £35, 35 hours per week at £17.50 an hour, and any additional time is paid a time and a half. So this is going to be called time rate plus overtime. Obviously, it's straightforward. Most of you working according to this kind of scenario. You work 35 hours a week, any hours more than that, you will be paid overtime. If you get weekend, you get overtime. You get a time and a half or 2 times. This is how you call that way. The production staff are paid £10 for each fully completed units, and then at least £600 being paid at the end of each week. So therefore, that means they will get minimum £600. Minimum £600, or you get £10 a unit. So if they make 600 items, they fulfill the criteria. But if they make 601 item or 60 items, 61 items, they will get £610. If they make anything less than 60, they will get a minimum of £600. This is what we call guaranteed minimum payment. It's not piecework. Piecework means there is no incentive of this minimum £600 will be paid to them. Okay, so therefore, we just be careful with this kind of questions. 58 units were made, then made in a week, taking a full 35 hours. They want you to know calculate the labor cost per unit for each of these scenarios, scenario A and scenario B. Okay, so you want to find out what is your labor cost. So here, round the answer to your two decimal places as well. So wherever it is, if you even get a full number, make sure you will trying to find the amount to two decimals. Even if it's full digits, full like integer is going to be 12 pounds, put 12.00. So let's find out the first one. If a staff work 35 pound an hour, sorry, 17 pound 50 an hour, 35 multiplied by 17 pound 50 will give you a total cost of 612 pound 50 pence. But they have made 58 units. So we're going to divide this amount by 58 units, and that gives me an amount of 10 pound 56. 10 pound 56, because the total cost divided by the number of units will give you cost of 1 unit. They're asking you labor cost per unit. For 1 unit, this is what we need. Let's look at the next one. If they made only 58 units, what is that you have to remember? If they're paid by piecework, they get 580 pounds. But it's not the case. Why? They get minimum 600 payment. So instead of doing 580, we use the minimum payment of 600 divided by 58 units, and that gives me 10 pound and 34 pence. So here 10 pound 34 pence will be the answer. Be careful, guys. You don't use 10 multiplied by 58. That obviously, is going to be a 10 pound an hour, 10 pound per unit. Yeah, that could be that. But only if they made anything more than 60 items. If they made anything less than 60 items, they get this minimum 600 pounds. Therefore, we have to divide this minimum 600 pounds by the number of units being produced. Let's answer that and let's move on. Now, the next question is about recording costs. So this one, they're asking you here, they want to know how they're classified. So these classification are done by 4 different methods. First one, whether is it going to be direct or indirect, we call is the nature of it. Why? By nature, it's direct. And if it's not direct, it will be indirect. If it's not direct, what is a direct cost? Direct cost is something straight away associated with the production itself, like material used in production, the labor working on production, any overheads directly involved with production. You call that direct overheads, but you don't see that often. But there are some examples, but we're not going to talk about that. We may come across it later. So here, nature. And the next one, material, labor, and overheads, they are by their elements because they are the smallest unit of your costs. Any material is your smallest cost, labor is your smallest cost, overhead is the smallest cost. And then you're going to find a bigger umbrella underneath them. You'll be able to find whether it's going to be a direct material or indirect material, direct labor or indirect labor. The next one is fixed variable, semi-variable cost. We already talked about that before. It's a behavior, a fixed behavior, a variable behavior, and a semi-variable behavior. Department is going to be by their function, like production department, sales and sales department, finance department, admin department. They all will be different to each other. Next one, identify whether the following are advantages or disadvantages of the coding system. Ability to retrieve information easily and quickly. Yes, it is very advantageous. Easy to miscode a bill. Yes, because with your codes, when you know the product code, you can type it in. You can easily miscode something there as well. You can easily do that. So that can be a disadvantage. But with attention to detail, you can overcome this disadvantage. So here, further down, an accountancy practice sells various services to its range of clients. It uses an alphanumerical coding system in order to code its sales invoices as follows. One by location, then by clients, and then the type of sales. If you notice that here, they use alphanumerical system here. So you start with 2 letters, 3 numbers, and 2 letters after that. So here is more of a what do you call again, a mixture of all three of them, but we just had to consider how it works. So here they're saying here, completion by Bristol office for client A, end of year account. So it's going to be say BO001YE. So here, completion by East Anglian office, we're going to say EO. That is the code for VAT return for client C. So it's going to be 003. The VAT return is called BR. Straightforward. The last one is for Devon office, it's going to be DO. And it's for client B, so it's going to be 002, and they want it for bookkeeping, so we say BK. Can't get any easier than this. This is an easy 2-mark question there. Let's answer that and move on. Now, next question is task 4. It is about calculating overhead absorption rate and looking at the behavior of costs. So here, identify whether the following statements related to fixed or variable cost. Again, guys, fixed and variable costs. There can be semi-variable costs, but they're not bothered about it. They want to know fixed and variable costs. What is the fundamental thing to about fixed costs? Fixed costs will not change regardless of any production level. It will stay as it is. Variable cost is, it will be 0 when there's a production 0, but it will increase as long the production keep on increasing. Okay, so therefore there is one of the bar will be like this way for fixed cost, variable cost will be like that way, because you'll have a increase throughout its activity. So here the unit cost remains same with the activity, changes in the activity level. Oh, you may ask me, oh, what is that unit cost? So here we are talking about the unit cost instead of the total cost. When it comes to the fixed cost, the total cost does not change. In the variable cost, the total cost changes. But when it comes to individual unit cost, for variable cost, the individual unit cost is constant. It will not change. Why? If I say material will cost for 1 unit is £5, that will be £5 for any level. So if I have 10 items you make, material cost is going to be £50. 100 units I'm going to make, it's going to be £500. But the unit cost will remain same for that. But for fixed costs, it's also opposite to that, isn't it? Because 1 unit I make, my total fixed cost, say £1,000. The fixed cost for that 1 unit now £1,000. But when you make 2 units, your fixed cost per unit now reduced by half, by 2 units now sharing that fixed cost. So it reduces. 4 units you make, £1,000. What is happening to your fixed cost per unit? It even comes down more. It comes down to £250. Therefore, it says here the unit cost varies with the changes in activity level. So that is for fixed cost. So for this one, I normally write a formula, or I use a small table. Total cost on top, unit cost on the bottom, and I'll say fixed and variable, and I will put it down even semi-variable if it requires. For fixed cost, the total cost don't change. Variable cost, it changes. Semi-variable cost, it changes. But when it comes to individual unit cost, the fixed cost changes. Variable cost will not change. Semi-variable cost also changes. So that means you see that here, changes and not changes. Not changes and changes, and 2 changes. So therefore, you know all 3 of them will be having a different characteristics. 2 marks for this one. Next one, Barrymore Limited produces a single product of which the following budgets have been identified. Overheads are £95,000. Activity level is 2,500 units. Labor hours are 3,000 units. The business is looking to identify how the different budgeted overhead absorption rate affects the unit. So here, if they use the machinery instead of labor, the budgeted machine hours are 2,000. So here, what they're asking you now, what will be the overhead absorption rate for what is that again? If they use the per unit method. So if you look at that overheads here, 95,000 unit. I'm going to divide it by number of units, 2,500. It is £38. Please remember, all your answers needs to be in 2 decimals. 2 decimals. Be careful with that because do not miss that out. So £38 per unit. And then also the same amount will be per unit if I'm going to absorb it. So it makes more sense. But let's look at the next one. The hours per unit. So if I have you making 2,500 units per unit, if I'm going to divide it by the number of the hour by the number of units I make, it will tell you 1 hour and dot 20. So 1.20 hours. It's what is that again? 12 minutes. 1 hour and 12 minutes there per item per production. It will take us 1 hour 20 minutes. And then here 2,000 labor hours, sorry, machine hours divide by 2,500 units, it takes 0.80 machine hours per unit. So that is 48 minutes, I think. Yeah, it is 48 minutes. But I don't need to know by the minutes at the moment because we just have them under the hourly rate. So this is how long it takes to make individual these items. But we look at the overhead absorption rate. Overhead absorption rate is calculated by the overhead divided by the activity. Budgeted overhead divided by the budgeted activity. So here, budgeted overhead is 95,000. Divide by the budgeted activity in this scenario, the labor hour is 3,000 hours. So that gives me 31 pounds and 67 pence, because you have to round up. It goes 66666 all the way to the infinity. Therefore, we will say this is going to be 31 pounds and 67 pence. Then also, now for the machine overhead absorption rate, again, we use the same formula. 95,000 divided by 2,000 machine hours. That gives me 47 pounds 50 per machine hours. So now our job is to find the budgeted overhead cost per unit. We multiply the total amount of activity per unit by the overhead absorption rate, because it takes 1 hour 20 minutes to produce this product, labor hours. Therefore, if I charge only 31 pounds 67 per unit, what will be my overhead absorbed for that whole unit? So I'm going to say 31 pounds 67 multiplied by 1 pound 20. That will, sorry, 1.2 hours. That is going to give me 38 pound exactly again. It gave me the same amount. For some reason, it just gave me the same amount. I think it's going to be same for every category, I think. But let's see. 47 pound 50 multiplied by 0.80. Again, I got 38 pounds. Luckily, it got me same amount for every one of it, but realistically might not be the same. All three answers are same, but these are the different absorption rate, which proves whichever way you do it, you still can absorb the same overheads per unit, because that when you could not decide which method I'm going to absorb. Sometimes if the process is labor intensive, I use that one. If the process is machine intensive, I use the machine overhead rate. But here they only produce this one single product. If you produce one single product, there's no difference between that product to another one. Therefore, I can use the unit absorption rate here. Let's answer it and let's move on. No, let me see whether I have answered everything. Yeah, I have answered everything. So let's move on to the next one. So here, task number 5. This task about calculating products and using tools and techniques to improve your presentation information. This task has A and B. Fred Co. Limited manufactures electric bicycles and are reviewing the cost of sales for its product called the Elite. Complete the calculation of direct cost by selecting each drop down in the list on the table below, ensuring that each item is in the order as identified in the manufacturing accounts. So here, if you notice that here, this is the manufacturing account. We have to find out, oh, which one is what. So here, let's start with it. We normally start with what? Opening inventory of raw material, purchase of raw material, and then take away the closing inventory of raw material. If you notice that here, look, this is what will be calculated as it is. And this one obviously going to be the last one, the labor. Okay, so this is the order I normally calculate them. Normally, I have to calculate the raw materials first, find the total material used, plus the direct labor will give you direct cost. So let's see whether that is correct. Obviously, they have done the numbers already, so I don't have to worry about it. But you also have to remember everything get added, but the closing inventory of raw materials, closing inventory of work in progress, closing inventory of finished goods, they all will be taken away because they'll become opening inventory for the next period. They're not part of the calculation for this period. You understand why? Because we didn't sell them. If we didn't sell them, that should not be part of a calculation of my cost of sales. Okay, so here they have given you all that information. They've given you some more now. Then want you to do a formula based calculation here. So here you have been given the following information: manufacturing overheads, opening inventory of work in progress, opening inventory of finished goods, closing inventory of work in progress, closing inventory of finished goods. They're all there. So now what we need to do, we have to put this figure here. What is your direct material used here? What is your direct materials used? This plus this minus that one. So for that one, let's see what is the formula they're asking you to do. Let's see the formula if they want you to do. Calculate the cost in the table below. Show your answer to the nearest pounds. Do not use the spreadsheet formulas when entering the answers. Thank God for that. We just have to fill in the box there. You don't have to do a formula. Okay. So here, the amount is going to be, when we calculate it, £75,000 plus £106,000 minus £31,000. That gives you 150,000 as my answer here. £150,000. Okay. So I put all of those amounts there. And then they ask you to find what is your manufacturing cost. We find the manufacturing overhead, £25,000, which we added to this. Once we added that, the amount going to be £350,000. So if you notice that now, the cost of goods manufactured, what we do, we add the opening inventory of work in progress, take away the the closing inventory of work in progress. So here, £350,000 plus the opening inventory of work in progress is 60,500 minus the closing inventory is 69,750, and that gives you 340,750. Okay, so we put the numbers first and then we can find the other answers later. So the what do you call, the cost of goods sold, it is going to be the manufacturing cost of manufactured plus the finished goods opening inventory, which we're going to add 59,250 minus the closing inventory of finished goods, and that gives me 337,000 pounds. Okay, so that is the answer. Oh, hold on. I think I made a mistake there. I thought, the cost is very high because when I look at it, the direct cost here is already have this added on. So I don't have to add these two together. So these answers are incorrect. You may be screaming at the screen there. Maybe you're right because I'm looking at that now. I just want to notice because it will not be that much amount because the direct cost is only £175,000. So the direct material used is the first subtotal we getting from this. See here, we could have made that mistake. Luckily, we didn't. We are now going to find what is my direct cost, which is 175,000. We add this manufacturing overhead, that gives me £200,000 as my manufacturing cost. From the manufacturing cost, £200,000. We add the opening inventory of work in progress 60,500 minus 69,750, which is the closing inventory of work in progress. That gives me £190,750. And then also the last one we have to add 190,750 minus, plus the opening inventory of finished goods, which is 59,250 minus the closing inventory of finished goods, 63,000. It gives me £187,000. Okay, so we've done all of those amounts there now, but now we have to do some editing on this. Means we're going to customize some of the cells. Place a 3x border around the table headline A1 to B1. So here these two, you want to make a border 3 points. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at the where's the border. There you go. It's want you to do 3x solid black. So we select that one. We're going to uh, around the table headings. Yes, so we have done that one. So we don't have to do individually. If I done it individually, it will give you slightly different look. So if you done that one, so you see it just got rid of that one. So what we do, we'll do a total border around these two together. So let's see here. Let's see, it works. No, it's not working. Let's select them two, and then you do it again. Yeah, it works now. If you're not sure what happened, you can clear by using that button and then redo that again if you require. Then also saying here, format the cells on cell B4 to B6. So these four, they don't have the 1000 separator. So to get the 1000 separator, what do you just do? We go around here, format, and you do thousands. If you click on that one, it adds the 1000 separator to it. You see that here? The 1000 separator. And you may be able to change certain things when it requires, depending on what you're doing. They're also saying here, fill color cell B6 with any color. So B6 wants to fill with any color. See that here? This is the fill color. I'm going to choose nice little uh, blue here. Okay, so that's fine. Any color, it's fine. They're also saying increase the text size on cell A1. So only this one, you need to be increased to size 20. So I'm going to go and look at that here, and it just increases size a little bit there. Okay, so everything is asked of us. We have done it. We have done the border. We have done the formatting these three cells with the 1000 separator, and we also filled B6 with a new color, and then we increase the size. Here. Let's move on to the next question. Task number 6. This task is about labor and the inventory calculation. So here, the Johnson Limited, God, bringing Johnson back into the business again. Johnson Limited has made the following purchases and issues of raw material during month of April. So they have given you all this amount of requisition, and there is one item issued. The complete the table below for the cost of issue and inventory inventory values to the nearest whole pounds. We're using FIFO and AFCO. Okay, so we need to find out what is the cost of issue and then the closing inventory on 30th of April. So let's look into that one. I'm going to bring a good old spreadsheet here to do that in an Excel. If you do that in an Excel, it's going to be a lot better for you. Because I'll be able to show you a little bit more clearly. Okay, so here I'm going to just bring the spreadsheet up now. I'm going to just share the screen slightly differently. Here you go. You'll be able to see the spreadsheet just alongside that now. Let me just share that on your video as well. It's going to be shared as the desktop. Okay. All right, you can now see the spreadsheet next to it. So the first scenario they're saying about in FIFO. So here, I'm going to say FIFO. So when you're going to issue good out, we have to remember we need to give out 15,000 meters into production. So we have to take from the top here and then work our way down. So here, I need to use all of these 5,000 units. So if they are £2 per unit, yeah, the cost is going to be equal to this multiplied by that. Okay, so here I've done it on a spreadsheet. It's easier. Next one, I need 5,500, or means 5,500. The cost of it is going to be £2.02. Okay, so here, if I want, just drag the formula down, and then it gives you an idea of copying that formula as it is. But now at the moment, we don't have, do we have enough? So here, I'm going to use the FX sum. So here, how many more I need of this 4,750? Out of the 4,750, I need only 4,500. So if I say 4,500 units, and it brings my total number of issue for the production to the 15,000. How much I paid for that? £2.04. So here, if you've done this formula, what it gives you an idea of how much is your cost of your issue. This is your issue, and this is your closing inventory. So do I have anything from the 5,000? No, I have zero. Do I have anything from the 5,500? I have zero. But I have 250 of the 4,750 items I requisitioned before. So here I'm going to put that here now. And then also I'm going to say, I'm going to copy the formula and put that amount. See that here, when I copy that, it will copy the same range formula. So it basically calculates that automatically. And also, you do not forget, I have one more. What is that? We have a new receipt of 4,000 units at on 30th of April, which is for £2.05. So therefore, I'm going to find the formula and then find the new sum. So here I'm going to say FX sum these two. So here I'm going to show you something slightly magical. So here, the total number of inventory. So if I look at it now, without even considering it, add all those inventories together. So I'm going to just start putting the inventory figure here, £2. Then I have 5,500. I'm just for the sake of calculation, okay? 4,750 and 4,000. Every one of them has different price. £2.02, £2.04. £2.05. Guys, in the exam, you will not get a spreadsheet like I'm doing it now because you have to do in your calculator, but it's a way you can write it down on your piece of paper. So I'm going to say this multiply by this figure and then do all of that. And this one, I'm going to do a sum of all of it. Equal to sum of all of this number. Close that. Now, this is £39,000 is the total value of the items I have received. If you look at that here, these two, if you add those two together, equal to this plus this, that is also 39,000. That means I have reconciled all my inventory. This is the number of items I have issued, and this is the cost of it by using the FIFO method. And this is my closing inventory. So if you add these two, will give you, that is the total amount of inventory I had. So here, look at that, that is the amount of inventory I had. So here on the FIFO, I'm going to say the cost of issue is 30,290, 30,290. And the closing inventory on the FIFO is £8,710. Okay, so you just have to be very prudent with this kind of a calculation. You need to write these down in a way it can help you with your further calculations. Now I'm going to go back in there and do the AFCO method. But doing the AFCO method, there is a slight change. That is why I done this here, because we only going to issue the goods up to that level. We don't have to worry about anything after that when it comes to AFCO, because at the moment, this is my subtotal. This is where I'm going to make my decision of how many items and how I'm going to deal with it. So here I'm going to just simply going to insert a line there, getting rid of this total. I will get a subtotal here. So subtotal is going to be same. So it's like here sum of these three. Yeah. Now here, this amount is the total value of the inventory at the time of issue. And this is the number of inventory I had. So here will give you an average value. So this divide by this will give you an average value. This is the cost of one item. But if I want to issue 15,000 items, I'm going to do this multiply by 15,000 items, and that gives you 30,295 pounds. And that is to the closest of the value. So here, if you get an answer, you will probably get 2.02 there. So it's 2.02 multiply by 15,000. If I say equal to, you're getting a different amount here. See that? If you just decided to round it 2.02 and multiply by 15,000, there is a £5 difference between them. So whenever there is a calculation, guys, when you find the unit cost, do not round up or down. Leave the number as it is and then multiply by the items you're issuing. That way, you will not consider this loss in value here, because that way you're losing some of the value, aren't you? But then again, they want you to find the closing inventory amount. So here I'm going to say 30,295. But if I really want to do it my previous way of calculating, I can simply say this minus that will be my closing inventory. I can say this minus this will be my closing inventory. So if it is the nearest pound, 8,705 pounds 91 pence or whatever is there. So that will be the answer. But we'll prove it because we know at the moment we had some inventory left from here, 250 items at this average value. And also we have to have that amount. So here the formula is going to be, this is going to be 250 multiply by the amount it's there within brackets, because what I'm doing here is just showing you how Excel can be so useful to learn for your future what do you call endeavors. So here, if I've done that, see, I got the same amount. I simply multiply whatever outstanding out of these, because I issued 15,000. How many I have left? 250 items. Multiply by the average cost of one item plus what is the new issue we received after. So the new receipt we received after we issuing the 15,000 units, that will be in that formula here. So this is the outstanding stock. This is the new stock, and that total amount will give you 8,705 pounds. So that will be my answer, 8,705. Okay. So that should give you 4 marks there. I know it's a bit of long-winded by the way I've done it, but it's for your information purpose. You don't even have to do what I've done. You can just write it down manually in your book there. In your piece of paper you get in the exam. The next one is Johnson Limited is also looking at its inventory control policies. Identify whether the following statements are true or false. So here, reducing the buffer stock will reduce the storage cost. What is the buffer stock? Buffer stock is something you keep it as a backup. That buffer stock is something, say, you know what, for a rainy day, because you may end up having a very busy period, you will end up selling your normal stock and suddenly you have some reserve that we can sell. You rather sell something without even, without selling anything, you will get no money. So, but holding the buffer stock, it will cost you some storage space, isn't it? And then of course it's going to cost you money there. So if you maintain it on a lower level, your storage cost also going to be coming down there. So that is true. It will help. Of course, it will help. In terms of changing prices, increasing buffer stock will help to stabilize the cost of inventory held. I know it says when the prices are changing, increasing the buffer stock will help. They didn't say, what is that again? Possibly or not possibly. It can help you. The reason why, because you are still maintaining a standard amount of inventory there. So therefore, the cost of inventory held, it does not fluctuate too much. Yeah. So you have more of a finishing stock there, but you may have to incur this, what do you call, storage cost. But the stabilize the cost of inventory, yes, it is, because you will not have to fluctuate your inventory value there. So the answer is going to be true as well. Johnson Limited pays a part as a time rate of £25 per hour to its direct labor workforce for 35 hours a week. It does not pay overtime in excess of standard 35 hours. So they do not pay overtime. During this day, they expected to produce 350 units. For any units in excess of this, they are paid an individual bonus of £2 per unit. So they will get individual bonus for exceeded production. Your standard production is going to be 250 units. There are 3 people in a team, and if all 3 exceeded 350 units each, there is a team bonus of £60, which is divided equally between the members of the team. Team A exceeded all targets. However, Team B did not. So here they're saying here, as Roscoe of Team A, they have exceeded all the targets. And then this person, M Cross in Team B, they did not. So therefore, they will be qualified for the individual bonus, but not the team bonus. Team A, as Roscoe, because the part of the team which exceeded the target, they will be qualified for the individual bonus and also the team bonus there. So here they're asking you the hours they worked, 36 hours, the basic pay. Okay, so here the basic pay is going to be still the same amount. They do not get overtime. So here they're saying here, they do not pay overtime in excess of the standard 35 hours. They didn't even say premium. They did say there's no overtime. So that means they have a fixed basic wage. So amount of fixed basic wage is 25 multiplied by 35 hours, £875. It does not change for both of them. So they get £875 there. And then also says, yeah, for any unit in excess of this, 350 units, they get a £2 per unit individual bonus. So here, the £2 per unit, 2 multiplied by 15 units excess is going to be £30. Okay, they want it in nearest whole pound, so we're going to use the nearest amount there. We don't change the decimals. So M cross at 5 units multiplied by 2, that's £10 there. But the team bonus, if it's £60 for a member of 3 members, a team with the 3 members, each member will be qualified for £20 bonus. But this person not qualified for bonus, there will be a 0 bonus there. That's all it is. It's not much intricate calculations. Here, you just have to analyze the word they have given you and find out what they're asking you to do. They didn't want you to do any further calculation. They don't want you to do the total wages. Nothing like that way. They simply want to know what is the amount is going to be paid. Let's answer it. Let's move on to the last question. This task is about calculation, budget calculations and exceptions reporting using formulas. So it's a formula part is involved here. Calculate the following statements about the use of budgets. Let me just change the presentation. Give me a second, please. Just bear with us, please. I'm just trying to switch to the computer quickly. All right, okay, so that seems to be fine. Yeah, okay, it's sharing the right screen now. Yeah, that's good, excellent. I don't have to bring the spreadsheet back up again now. Complete the following statements using use of the budget. So here we're going to look at it. Budgets facilitates excessive spending or planning. Never excessive spending, it's going to be planning, which enables a business to meet the required objective, hide potential issues. Not going to sweep it under the carpet, guys. We're going to meet the required objectives, because that's what the budget is. Budget is given to the departments so they can work according to their financial constraints and make the production feasible for them, or their what do you call activities feasible for the business needs. So here, that is the answer. So they're asking here, Shark Repair Limited services vacuum cleaners, and we have to do some formula for that one. So let's see what they're asking you to do. Formulas must be used for the figures entered on cells B10, B11, D10, and F10. They want you to do the following information to D2, D5. complete the following table. So we have to do all these things here. So let's do here, any highlighted yellow, there will be a formula. So here, the revenue is going to be equal to the selling price multiplied by number of items, which is 6,000 units. So here, the budgeted volume is here. So we're going to use a formula B5 multiplied by C2. So B5 multiplied by C2. Let's enter it. Yeah, it has given you a monetary value now. They also want you to know what is your direct labor. Direct labor is going to be 1,500 hours multiplied by 25 pounds per hour. Okay, so here this is equal to A B3 multiplied by C3. Okay, got that labor hours there. And then also we have the variance. Now variance is calculated because in this scenario this is going to be a positive variance, because we're going to calculate the actual as the higher and the budget as the lower, because you have to look at it. A positive variance, it's good. Okay, a negative variance, it's not. Okay, so here they want you to find out this is going to be this equal to C10 minus B10. I think that's what it is, but let's see. Yeah, minus 3,000. That's fine. But on the expenses on these ones, we have to do the opposite way. So remember how we do this. This scenario, budget minus actual, if your actual is lower, is going to give you a positive variance. So that's what I want you to do. So here the amount is going to be 2,000. You don't have to do a formula here. Here, the amount is minus 1,000. You don't have to do a formula here. And we have to select, this is going to be an adverse, favorable, adverse, and adverse. So if you look at that here, profit is 6,000 adverse. How they managed to get that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Let me see whether that calculation is right. 21,000 minus 92,500 is going to be 117,500. Yeah, 20700 minus 91,500. So it's going to be 115. This calculation is incorrect. This calculation is not correct, and that is definitely not minus 6,000. It should have been minus 2,000. It should be only minus 2,000, and that figure here is going to be 115,500, because their calculation is definitely incorrect there. I'm not sure AAT can make these kind of mistakes as well, guys, because when I'm looking at the number, I know if you add these three, it's going to be 6. But you remember, these are two negative figures, and that's a positive figure. That will be minus 2,000. This one is 115,500 there, not 111,500. So they made a categorically wrong error mistake there. So let's see here. Let's do the variance. For this one, we're going to say this D11, also D10 divide by the budgeted figure of B11. Okay, so it gives you 0.08 here. Oh, hold on. Is that right? Okay. Let me check it here. 3,000 divide by 2100, multiply by 100. Yeah, this formula is giving me a wrong answer there. Why is that? I don't know. D10, oh, B10. It's not B11. It's going to be B10. All right. So that one, it should be multiplied by 100. 1.43. Yeah. So here the formula is shown like this way. The variance divide by the budgeted revenue multiply by 100. That should give me 143. But the next one you can calculate yourself quickly. 2000 divide by 37,500 multiply by 100. That gives me 5.33 positive 5.33 positive number there because there had to be two decimals. The last one is 1000 divided by 5500. So 55,000. It gives me 1.81, but I'm going to do a negative variance here because the answer is, negative variance. So therefore, we have to put it on. Hold on, let me check the right decimal. Sorry, it's 1.82. 81818181. It just continuously go like that way. So therefore, it's going to be 1.82. Okay, so I've done all those things there, what they require of us. Let's see here anything else they have mentioned. So here, you must manually enter the cell references. Do not enter any spaces in the formula cells. You should use standard round brackets if where relevant in formulas. The remaining cells should be completed by entering the figures only. We done that one. Show the adverse variances using a minus sign. We done that one. Monitor values should be to the nearest pound. So if they all nearest pounds, they are absolutely fine. Variance percentage column has been pre-formatted to 2 decimal places. They're all fine. So we have done that all here. We done E10 to E13, E10 to E13. We had to use the drop down menu, which we have also done. So we have completed everything. Now let's move on to the last question. Identify whether the following descriptions of variances are true or false. So they want to know is going to be a true or false. So here we need to decide an adverse overhead variance could be because the office rental costs were negotiated to be cheaper in the year. So you will not get a cheaper variance if you, the adverse variance if you got cheaper cost. That will save money. Therefore, you should get a favorable variance. So therefore, that will not be a reason. That cannot be a reason. If you negotiated a cheaper rate, your variance should be favorable because you save money there. Next one, a favorable revenue variance could be due to selling more items, but at a cheaper price. Could be, yeah, because if you look at that here, the favorable variance could be because we have sold more items, but at a cheaper price. Okay, that could be because I may sell more items, still I make good money, yeah, on the revenue side of it, but I slightly reduce the price. Could be happening, but here that could be the reason there. So it's true. Let's answer that. Oh, it seems like I have completed everything, but let me check. Everything's done. Yeah, it looks all done now. Let's submit the assessment and see how it looks. The truth, the reality. Let's see, because spreadsheet questions gave me headache before because of problems with some of the formats. Let's see in this scenario whether I have overcome those expectations. Waiting for the results data anytime now. Maybe some problem with the system. I don't know. It's just frozen on me by the look of it. Let's see. Yeah. Down. No, not down. Guys, it seems to be the computer's not having any of it. If I try to refresh it, I think I'll lose the data anyway. So yeah, let me just stop the presentation. I'll come back to it if it ever comes back again. Yeah. No, it's not come back yet, guys. So just bear with us. So yeah, in this exam, what I noticed, it's very easily be sidetracked with certain questions they have given you. Sometimes this is not what you expected. You don't want to do too many calculations, so many theory involved there, and then also spreadsheet knowledge. So in the certain part of it, you are expected to do a formula. Certain part of it, you just have to type the number in. So keep an eye out for those particular boxes. Those boxes with formula, make sure you only do formula there. You don't type anything there by even accident. Okay. And then if they say put zero on boxes where is no answer, please do that as well. Don't leave any boxes blank, because any boxes are blank, that means you lost marks there. And then also decimals, keep an eye for those as well. Okay. Yeah, let me see again whether it has updated. No, it's not. It's basically kicked me out now. Yeah, there's no results there. I'll try to do that again another time if I have free 1 hour, which I rarely have nowadays. And especially the summer starting, I'm back to going, involving some other sports now. So just keep me fit, uh, keep living a healthy life, and then obviously, keep busy with doing some, nice content for you guys. So yeah, thanks for tuning in today to my channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and then obviously I certainly. Um, you know, uh, pass my gratitude for your continuous support. And then please keep on this YouTube channel for further contents with your level 2 qualifications. And then anyone doing level 3, if by any chance looking at this video, yes, I'll be doing some new MATS units, which is management accounting techniques, coming up next. Whilst I'm teaching my group that one, I will do the exam when they're closer to the exam time, because I don't want to do too early and just break the what do you call the excitement for my students who are personally, waiting for my feedback. Only after they do the exam, they just go and do, check the website to see whether, that's going to be any useful. So, guys, thanks for tuning in again. I wish you all the best, and leave your comments there. Is there anything I need doing, or any um, new contents you would like me to try on, please let me know. And as I said in my previous videos, I'll be also trying to dip my finger into the new AAT green light test, see whether I can do some of them there for a group, do a short videos of it, and also please keep an eye out for any further contents. All the best, guys. Thank you, and goodbye.